And just taking a few minutes for yourself, everybody, as you're coming in. I know even taking a few minutes for yourself can be sometimes rare in our life. So just allowing yourself to have a space. I love that you got here a little bit early. That way you just really arrive, clear away distractions. Time for yourself.
Cause you have the choice, and when you meet your voice, the mountaintops await your ride.
And once we get started, in just a couple minutes, if you can have your video on, that would be amazing. Our group energy and our community here. I always love seeing your beautiful face, whether you just woke up, you're in your pajamas, or however you've arrived. It's totally fine. It's all good. The fact that you got here is amazing. And as we're getting set up, just a reminder, everybody, that we have at the time of this our Samhain event next week. So every day next week. So that is October 28th to November 1st. We're going to meet and do a ritual every day. I love Samhain. I love this time when all the witches and the goblins are running around on the streets. In my neighborhood, there's so many houses that have been dressed up for Halloween. If you walk down my street, it's just unbelievable the amount of effort and time people have put in. And so people really pick up on the energy of this time, whether it's kind of more commercial as we've come to know Halloween, or really, digging into the roots of this time, which is a celebration honoring of the ancestors. We've got Witches' New Year, which is technically on November 1st. And then also, of course, in Mexican and other traditions, it's Day of the Dead festivities begin on November 1st. So with Witches' New Year, there truly is this energy of releasing what wants to die away emotionally, internally, from the landscape of the psyche. And that, of course, could be externally, show up as external as well. And embracing that change so that there is a clear, a clearing and opening, a kind of fresh start, clean energy, so that you can open up to who you're becoming through the next year. And for me and for us here, I'm very pro aging. I think we have this crazy culture that is anti-aging. And we even see that word a lot, anti-aging, on different products and advertising and marketing. But here I just want us to have that reframe of pro-aging. And what does that mean for us as women, right? How do we actually honor the wisdom that is more available to us as we grow older, which happens every day? We're just getting a little older every day. So we might as well embrace that and honor it and have a reframe together, because when we go out into the muggle world, we're going to be bombarded again with programming that is anti-aging. So here we get to really embrace our wise woman selves. Okay, my friends, so nice to see everybody. I'm going to invite in our special guest today. I'm so excited to have her come in today. I met her through a Wicca training, and we were part of the same group. So somehow we found each other through the process. And I think wise women do find each other, like we all have here, right? There's, for some reason, you found your way here. You probably can't even remember, some of you, how you ended up here in this circle, in this coven, in this beautiful community of loving, caring, and kind women. And Joanne Beattie is an incredible animal communicator and healer. She has her own sacred business and offerings. It's called a healing pause, healing pause. And she has many cat familiars. And she just has a special way about her. The thing I love about Joanne is she makes you feel instantly comfortable in her presence. And she has this understated wisdom and such a beautiful smile and beautiful laugh. But you're going to find that some of the messages that come through Joanne are going to be extremely profound. And I even welcome you to have your journal nearby and just have this open beginner's mind as Joanne steps in with us today, because there could be messages that come through in a really powerful way for us as a collective. I know there will be, as a collective and also individually too. So if you can have your video on, we're going to welcome in Joanne. Let's give her some sparkly fingers as she comes in here. Hi, Joanne. Joanne
Hello,
Beattie.
everyone. Thank you. No pressure, Desiree. Thank you for that wonderful intro.
I love doing the big intros because I think as women too, we don't know, we sometimes we're the wallflower, we pull back, we're doing so much for so many people, and we don't see ourselves as that person who's out front in the spotlight, because we're also about community and like pulling people into community and keeping the love flowing in community. We're part of a whole. So sometimes when we're in the spotlight, it feels kind of uncomfortable. It's like, oh, wow.
You do know me.
Yeah. And you're
This
more
is,
of a, would you say you're an introvert, Joanne?
oh, yes, to the definition in the dictionary.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've done this, but as I said to Desiree last night in messages back and forth, normally I would be very, very nervous. But when it comes to animals, I can talk all day. So I'm only a little bit nervous, but yeah, really looking forward to the topic and really appreciative of the invitation and everyone who was able to come today. I appreciate that. So
Oh, thank you. How do you feel around this Samhain time? Do you have any special rituals or a feeling of the energy of this time?
definitely, I feel very connected to my ancestors. I don't have any children, children. I have for children. Oh, I like the split screen. That's right. You can go back to
I won't put
that.
you in the spotlight. Okay.
We can share that. We can share it back and forth.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel that's maybe why I'm even more connected to my ancestors. My grandparents all passed when I was very young, but I've done genealogy, and I actually have every time. In another course, we do what was called an elder council. I would lay out. I call myself the keeper of the photos for the family, right? I'm kind of the family archivist. So I would lay out all the old photos, even back to like great grandparents. And I finally took a photo of that and had it, laminated. So it's up on my wall now, right in front of me, with all the way back to great great grandparents. It starts with, myself and my parents at the main level, and then all the way back on both sides. So
Yeah.
very connected. And it
Yeah.
actually came up, and sorry, I'm very tangential, so I'll complete that thought. Yeah, and even more so today. I mentioned to Desiree, I actually did not sleep at all last night, which is unusual for me. There's been a lot going on, and excuse my tickle and my sniffing. I'm just recovering from COVID and have had a lot going on. So I will try to be linear, but this came up with something. I was messaging with a cousin that I don't know that well, but we've actually become closer over Facebook Messenger, a cousin's daughter, in the last couple of years. And she compared me last night to her granny, who is my aunt, who was my cat mentor and hero.
Wow.
Okay. She was my favorite person, and I'd go and spend time with her every summer. And she had cats and she talked to them all the time. And now, even I'm realizing she had no idea that she was actually communicating with them. But she'd walk around and because they'd bring friends home for, they were outdoor cats, and they'd bring friends home for dinner or whatever. And she'd go out and she'd count them all and say, well, wait, you have to wait. I'll go get your bowls. And she'd like shuffle around and talk to them all the time. So that was such a compliment last night to have her granddaughter, who adored her, compare me to her. So,
Oh,
so that was really
I love
sweet.
that. Your cat hero.
So then we bring in the ancestors and the cats together, right?
Yeah, that's
She's on that mural as well, my aunt in there. So
and what was
mhm.
her name?
Oli, her name was Iola, but everyone called her Oli.
Oh, beautiful. Iola. That's amazing. I don't know
Hmm.
if I've heard that name before. Iola. It's beautiful. Yeah, I feel the ancestors nearby. I've been sensing into both my grandparents on my dad's side lately for some reason, which is unusual. Usually it's more on the other side. My grandmother's name was Violet, and my grandpa's name was Thomas, and they were kind of pioneers. They well, my grandpa headed over from Saskatchewan. He is kind of more Irish, just being heritage, originally coming from Nova Scotia, and then followed the gold rush over to BC. And he left the farming life and got an accounting diploma and started doing accounting during gold rush. And he did really well for himself. He's self-made, created his family, and they were quite wealthy. Um, but I think there is an energy too that I've been clearing lately of fear, like this fear, even though they had money, a fear of losing it, or a fear that, they had to really keep track of it and count it, being an accountant. You think knowing numbers might give you safety, but I feel like there's a fear that they're coming in to help me break the chain that came from that lineage. So this I think is such a beautiful time just to bring that awareness to which part of my lineage am I honoring and keeping and holding on to, and
Hmm.
which part am I ready to say goodbye to? It just doesn't serve. Yeah,
Right. I've
yeah.
always felt very connected to my mother's mother, even though, well, she passed when I was 12, but they lived far enough away that we didn't go often, certainly not in the winter. This was in Montreal, the Montreal area, um, and was in a home in the last few years. Like we're talking back in the, dare I say, mid to late 70s. Um, so I knew her, but I didn't know her all that well, right? But I feel very connected to her, and more so since I recently saw on Facebook a meme explaining that we were actually inside our grandmother's womb,
Yes, that.
right? That really hit a note for me. I'm like, okay, that explains a lot. Why I feel so connected to this woman I didn't know that well. And I only have one cousin on that side who's old enough to remember her fairly well. So she's always my source of information whenever I want to know something. I go to her and ask what's,
Beautiful.
that's more about her.
When did you first notice, Joanne, that you could connect to spirit, whether it was cats or other like
Mm.
loving entities? When did you notice?
It was a slow process to realize what was happening. Okay, I've always had cats and a couple of dogs when I was young. I love dogs too. It's been cats in my life. I love all animals. Um, but I started off with healing, the energy healing. So one of my cats out here, I used to have six. I had four and now I have three. But the originals, the two originals, one of them ended up being a hermaphrodite, or I think it's intersex is the term that's used now, but at the time, so she was half male and half female. And
Wow.
I mean, I didn't know that. I took her in for her space surgery, right? And then I got the call from the vet saying your baby's all right, but I've heard about this, but I've never seen it before. And then we'll see what happens, right? Like she only had some of the female stuff and she had some male stuff. And the vet said, I hope I got it all. Well, she didn't. Uh, like 6 weeks later, Puff, Hufflepuff. So the originals were Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. It was in my Harry Potter phase.
We like that.
Yeah, who went into she went into heat 6 weeks later, which I'd never experienced, but you know when it happens, even if
Oh,
you've never
yes.
experienced it.
Oh,
And she spent the next 12 years going in and out of heat cycles.
wow.
For several years, it was 6 to 8 months of week on, week off, Thursday to Thursday, like clockwork. Clockwork. I'd go out the door on a Thursday morning and she'd be fine. I'd come back, she'd be in heat. And then next Thursday, I'd go out in the opposite. It was like, all through the night, everything. So, as I was learning, I'd reconnected with so my muggle job is a behavior consultant, and one of my mentors had quit and gone on to energy healing, which I knew nothing about. And I happened to reconnect with her literally on the road one day. I was following her and we're like, hi, like signaling back and forth. I think this was even pre-cell phone. Sorry, I have another cat right here trying to climb me. Um,
They're
she will
all
join us at some point, guaranteed.
good.
So, yeah, so I started taking, she told me about pranic healing. So I took different levels of pranic healing and then did quantum clairvoyance that I learned about through her. So it was kind of a process.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Reiki levels 1, 2, and 3 and master teacher and all of that, trying to look for something that would help Puff. Right. My original thing was to work with her
Mm-hmm.
and see if I could help her. And then I was trying to figure out where I found out about my first animal communication class. Actually, let me backtrack. In 1995, I picked up a book and I can't even remember where I bought it, and I still have it. I have a huge library called Animal Talk, Interspecies Telepathic Communication by Penelope Smith.
Ooh, everyone
And
keep writing that down. If you
she's
can.
now in probably close to 80. Um, and she's considered the grandmother of interspecies communication. So I read the book and thought, wow, cool. And then I put it away and I didn't think of it again.
Mm.
And then through Hay House, I think it was um, like a free, like one time seminar thing. I sat in on the seminar with the animal communication teacher and then ended up taking multiple levels with
Mm-hmm.
her because it kind of came together with the Reiki, with the healing. My passion is healing, definitely. And I find even when I'm doing communication sessions, it's very often about, what needs to be healed, be it physical, be it mental, emotional, spiritual, be it the animals or be it the persons. Uh, um,
Ah. So does it sometimes end up being more about the animal owner?
Often. And I really feel that animals show us what we need to heal, and they're helping
Yeah.
heal, right? So they will often point out um, my cat that, as you know, just passed on Saturday. Try to not get teary. Um,
Oh.
she was my assistant, and when I did in-person sessions, she would get up on the table and she would know exactly where to go. If the person didn't want her in, I had a door I could close her out, but she'd cry outside the whole time. And the
Mm.
others I know assisted in their own way. They would hold space and but Tara would get up and she would go right to. One woman I did not know had a hip replacement. Tara worked on her hip. Another one with a knee problem. Tara worked on her knee. Another one with breathing. She sat, I call it Henny Penny style. When they sit like that, would
Yeah.
sit on her chest or sat on her chest through the session. So she knew
Wow.
where to go.
So
Definitely.
she would literally do like
Yes.
that kneading kind of that they do
Yeah.
like on their body.
Absolutely. I have to check in with the person to make sure she wasn't using. Yeah, I see Marissa has a little black cat there.
Oh, Marissa,
Yeah.
better kid.
Uh,
Marissa has a whole story about a cat. Maybe she'll tell later. We probably all have a story. How many people have a really strong connection to animals and maybe an animal? How many people have had, just so Joanne and I can see, have had one of your animal besties, fur baby, familiar pass over, and you still kind of feel strong connection? I have two. I have Samantha was my Siamese
Enrich, any connection?
Siamese cat when I was a kid. She was there when I was born, and then she was there till probably was about 7 or 8. Siamese live for a long time. And then I had a Siamese cat, Ragdoll Flame Point, whose name was Isadora. And I got her in my 20s. She came to me magically through a friend that breeded the cats, and she had one left through this like process of having like 8 kitties. And I ended up with her, and she was a little crazy cat, just bouncing off the walls, but so pretty. And somehow I ended up with her. 24 years later,
Wow.
she passed away.
Wow, that's
And yeah, it was wild. I never thought I would have a cat that long. And she definitely was like a healer for me. And yeah, just like one of my best friends. So I feel, Joanne, when you're talking about tarot passing over, I think we're all possibly reflecting on some of our animal fur babies that have passed over
Mhm.
and still feeling a connection to them. I still feel Samantha sometimes, like almost like she's walking around me. Um, she's still there, like 50 years later, which is just so fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing when we're open to it. Right. This is Maggie, Magpie. Speaking of challenging children, I have nicknames for all of my cats, many nicknames. She's Magpie. She came with the name Magpie from a local shelter, Ren and Magpie, her sister. But I call her Maggie. Maggie May, Miss Maggles, Maggle Pie, and Moaning Myrtle.
Okay.
So if you're
Of
familiar with
course.
Harry Potter, she is my Moaning Myrtle. She's very sensitive. She moans about everything. She's very jealous. She's very overdue for a claw clip. I cannot do her myself. I can do all the others. When she was a baby, it took three of us to clip her claws. They're
Oh.
like, oh, no problem. We do it all the time at the pet store, right? They're like, no problem. Yeah. Just sat back and laughed. I'm like, yeah, no, no. She turns into Gumby Cat, no bones. She just out the bottom of the towel, up the top, all the rest. It would take three of us. Now it takes a good, strong woman who has like very strong boundaries to do
Right.
it. She does
Oh
it
my
very fast. But yeah, so. Uh,
That's amazing. So when
but one
you,
of my very, very
oh,
clearest first connections with an animal was interesting. I was in a back to work rehab program. I'd been in a car accident, and it was not made for me. It was for like construction workers and all the rest. You go 6 hours a day and work out. It was brutal. Um, so I was on the treadmill one day and it was pouring rain out, and there was this crow out in the tree outside. And I remember just thinking to it, like, wow, what's it like out in the tree? Expecting to hear like ugh, because that's was my thought process, wet and rainy. And I got, it's great. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And that's what I love when I get something that I do not expect to get. Right. That's validation that that's real. And I actually laughed. I had to like stifle a laugh. Right. Because I'm like, okay, wonderful. And that's actually where I met my first paying client. Was she was also in the same program. And, during lunch, we got to talking about cats, as always comes up whenever I talk to people. And she was having some challenges with one of her cats. So my first professionally, like I've been practicing because I was also one of the first members of the Canadian Reiki Association to become an animal Reiki practitioner on their website, because I'd already been certified through my teacher. And then Canadian Reiki Association started recognizing the animal Reiki classification. So I'd gone through all of that. I'd done all the training. I was doing, a lot of free work for everyone, but that was actually my first paid client. It was through that woman. Um, and it was interesting because his name was Pants, and it was a couple, two women, and they also had two female cats. And Pants was being a bully, and he would like sit up on top of tall furniture and like intimidate and bully. And part of the issue, and I do believe names tell them who they are, part of the issue was the message I got, well, you told me I'm Pants, right? I'm the pants in the family. So he
Oh.
was playing that role. He would like intimidate the others, like, wild lion, go in, male eats first, and all the
Oh.
rest. And once we kind of cleared some of that up, and I'm also a behavior consultant, so we worked on some behavioral strategies,
Yeah.
and some of the communication as well. But it was really, really interesting to, do that as well
Beautiful.
for
So,
that was the
Joanne, when
first.
you get the message, are you clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient? How does it come in for you?
It's a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
which makes it very challenging. I felt like a puzzle, right? I'm trying to put the puzzle pieces together. I'm more clairsentient
Hmm.
than anything, which is the hardest one to feel you're right with, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because it's not like sometimes I'll get words, get a voice, get a phrase, get whatever. And that's easy then, right? Because you heard it.
Hmm.
Um, Clairvoyant, I'll see some things, I'll get images, I'll get pictures, but it's more the knowing. I
Yeah.
just get a sense. I just know what's happening, know whatever it is. Um, it was quite a shock the day I found out I can't think of the Claire right now. No sleep doesn't help. Where I could taste things. Clear goose.
Oh.
That's it. Taste things. My cat was on the bathroom counter when I was in the bathroom, and she licked the wet bar of soap and turned and looked at me, and I went, eh. I did not know that could happen. So that was interesting. I also smell things
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's
For a
amazing.
session with an ongoing client, she had a senior lady. Um, and one of the things I got was the smell of very strong. Actually, no, it wasn't the smell because my desk is a complete mess. So before I do any session, I basically just, okay, what am I using? Right? Like I feel into what it is, and I'd put rose perfume on, rose
Mm,
essential oil perfume.
yeah.
And so during the session, I usually do sessions on my own and then type them up and, send them off and get feedback about what makes sense and what doesn't. But at first the woman couldn't come up with rose. And I said, I don't know why. Like I can't interpret it really, right? What does rose mean to you or to her? And she's like, nothing. And then a couple days later, she sent me a photo laughing with the cat in her preferred lounge spot, an antique sofa, looking very, regal and elegant. And right above was a piece of stained glass with a rose in it. So it was nothing to do with the scent. So that's where it's like the puzzle pieces, right? You have to try to kind of put together and see.
Thanks for that reminder too. Does everyone else feel that, when you're getting messages or downloads, it's not always like a bolt of lightning, like, blah, this is the
Right.
thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mystery. It's more, it might be subtle or you're getting a hint. It's like the universe or the goddess is kind of playing tricks with us. It's like you're getting a little hint, a little
Mm-hmm.
piece of the puzzle. And are you going to go deeper with this? And it's up to you, right? And that's where it takes these kind of a trust and a kind of a patience sometimes too to let it
Mm-hmm.
come in. Sometimes it does take a couple of days or even longer, and that's okay.
Sometimes for the feedback to make the connection, right? And
Yeah.
at one point, and I checked back, I was checking dates because I have no concept of time anymore. And I can't believe it was 10 years ago, but for 20 years, I had a holistic vet. He since closed his local practice and moved. But so he did both. And he knew about my Reiki and all the rest. And he asked me one day to join him if I wanted to join him at a free clinic he did once a month
Oh,
for low income and those, unhoused and the rest with their animals.
yeah.
And it was mostly just, exams, flea treatments, vaccines, things like that, right? That
Yeah.
he would do. So I had just started. This was like just after I'd started the professional aspect and done my website and all the rest. So I really kind of threw myself in the deep end because he would have client after client after client in the room. And literally, as soon as he would put the animal up on the table or whatever, dogs, cats, I think mostly dogs and cats, he'd turn to me and say, "So
What do you
what are you getting?" And I'd be like, and I'd just blurt out whatever it was, thinking like, you know, I don't know why, but my thumb is aching type thing. And then it would turn out the dog had a torn dew claw
wow.
or, different things like that. So, and one cat I'll never forget, it was a feral cat that was being fed by this couple, and they had been trying for ages and ages to trap him to come in for an exam. And they finally had managed to get him. And he'd been wild in the cage. And in the room, at the time we were in a bigger room, we were in a church at that point. So I was in the room, I was standing back because I didn't want to interrupt the vet, but I was just holding space,
Mhm.
right? As the vet took him out of the carrier and was, dealing with him. And the woman kept kind of looking at me, looking at the cat, looking at me. So then I stepped up and explained what I was doing. And she goes, that makes so much sense. Because this cat is like, I didn't think the vet would be able to handle him, and he's so calm. And the
Mhm.
same thing happened. She came back for a follow-up the next week.
Yeah.
And the same thing was happening. But that time she knew, and she just kept smiling at me, going, like, wow, he's so calm. And it was easier to get him in the car this time and all the rest, because it took like two of them, a couple hours to get a hold of him to get him in the car the first time. And
Wow.
so moments like that,
That's
very,
amazing.
very rewarding to help out in those situations.
Yeah, to see that like instant shift for them, for the pet
Mhm.
owners and the pet too, right? That just makes everything so much better.
I was
That's
really disappointed when my vet stopped doing it. It just circumstances changed and he wasn't
right.
able to do it. And
Yeah, I love this holistic vet. That's amazing. Because I know a lot of people have issues with vets too, right? Where it's kind of like, it feels like a cash grab a lot of the time. And you end up spending a lot of money because of course you love your pets.
Yeah.
So I love you're giving us this other like option, right? Like a first, just like we would do for ourselves. Like what's like the more natural, holistic, like perspective first or pathway. And same
Yeah.
thing for our pets
I
too.
hadn't, once he moved, I had not, I had, it was just like during the pandemic and I'd had all my files sent to another local, on the one other holistic vet, which is further away. But then because of the pandemic and they weren't taking new clients and all the rest, so I just, due to emergency circumstances, started with a new vet 2 weeks ago. And I haven't been able because of circumstances and what we were discussing to discuss more general things, but I'm hoping they're open to some holistic ideas as well. And I'm totally connected to the vet already, love her so much. They were
Okay.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
As I was falling apart on Saturday.
Yeah.
They were absolutely wonderful. But and I did mention what I do, right?
Okay.
The
Good.
communication and I had crystals out and all the rest. I took
Yeah.
crystals for the process and
Yeah. And you said Tara was in your arms when she actually passed over too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's the first time I've ever done that. Any other time they've passed at home.
Yeah.
Um, so that was incredibly hard for me. Even as a child, it was always my mother and my brother who would, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Even as an adult, when my, childhood cat passed, and my dog, I couldn't do it
Mm-hmm.
with it. But again, circumstances this time I wasn't sure. I was hoping I was bringing her home, but that
Yeah.
wasn't what was to happen. So
Thanks.
I made the decision, but it was interesting because I've been second guessing and doubting,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that what she wanted? Should I have done that? Did I do it too soon? Like all of these questions that I've been having. And it's one thing to know it for someone else, it's different, when it's yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't getting really an answer from her. Um, and this was just after, like later that day. And I wasn't feeling an answer. But then I felt in right away to my hermaphrodite, Puff, who
Yeah.
has quite a passing story. Um, she passed it home under her own terms, and she actually passed twice with my hands on her and came back. This was a very strong personality cat.
Not
And she
going
and
without
she
a
was a
fight.
mess. And I kept asking, do you want to go? And no, absolutely not. So, anyways, after Taro passed and I wasn't getting anything, I just checked in with Puff for like a contrast, right?
Mhm.
To feel the energy. And I basically just in my mind said the question, Puff, would you have wanted that? And I got, oh hell no. Excuse me, like so strong, clear, audience, the words. So that made me realize that, okay, I was not getting that from tarot, right? I wasn't getting resistance. So that it was okay with her because off the resistance was very clear.
Very clear. Oh,
So, but it's about being open and being, like you said, when you started about just opening your heart and being open and
yeah.
aware. To backtrack, Penelope Smith, who has written, I think, at least 4 books, and I have all of her books and her audio cassettes and her CDs and all of that, is finally teaching online.
Ooh.
Yes, through the Shift Network. And so I signed up for her preliminary class, like her, level 1 class.
You never take any courses, Joanne. That's so weird. Just kidding.
Sarcasm does not become you, does it?
Joanne's always learning. I'm always so impressed and look up to you because you're learning so many different things and you implement them. You get into action with
try
them.
try I'm
Right.
always taking classes, but so of course I signed up for hers because I'm like, I have to. She's the person to learn from, even though I've read everything and she's done a lot of like free 1 hour things like that.
Okay.
But I will admit, again, circumstances in the last couple of months, I have not kept up. I had hoped before meeting you ladies today and giving this chat to have gone through the first level, but I did not have a chance. But she's doing a second level, and I've signed up for that as well.
Yeah.
So even if I don't do it live with the class, I definitely,
Does anyone else here do that? Sign up for a course and not finish? Probably nobody.
I have probably a
Just kidding.
dozen that
But
are
not my courses. Obviously, everyone here fully completes and engages.
I've
Just,
signed up for that I have not gone through. They're there. I know. I have one on the ancestors. You just have so many.
but it's kind of nice to know they're there too, right?
Hmm.
Because you can always go through. It's kind of, I think some personal development books are like that too. We get excited. I was just away on Pender Island this weekend. It was so beautiful, but there's this amazing bookstore that was called the Talisman Books and very witchy. They had a whole Wicca section right when you walked in the door. I'm like, ooh, this is my kind of
Hmm.
place. So I walked out of there with 6 books. I was like, oh my gosh. But they were all used and they were all like $6 each. I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I'll take this one, I'll take that one.
You're an
It was so
amateur.
fun. Yeah, it was awesome.
Amateur. Last time I was at
Amateur. Oh, what?
amateur. Last time I was at Banyan Books, they had to give me a box, and I barely made it to my car around the street at the
You're on it. I love you, Joanne. Joanne has an amazing crystal collection too. I remember one time we were on a call together, Joanne, and you had just gotten this delivery or you're waiting for a delivery of your whale. Was it a whale vertebrae?
Yes.
That
No,
was
a bear
oh
vertebrae.
bear. It was a
Oh,
bear.
I have whale bone, whale inner ear bone fossils as
Okay,
well.
great.
So I have
You're a
bear vertebrae.
collector of magical.
I'm crazy. I just got a new one today, actually.
What a new crystal. We
Literally
gotta see
just
this.
before. So it's a blue smoke quartz. So it's got like blue smoke inside, and that's, like the mineral composition and the structure. It's hard to see, but you can see kind of see the blue smoke inside.
What would you recommend, Joanne, for Samhain? Because we're doing a crystal grid on Monday. And
Mm,
I'm just thinking I might need to freshen up my crystals a little bit. Maybe go to the amethyst crystal store down the road.
mm.
Any thoughts?
The first thing that popped into my head was black tourmaline, right?
Yeah,
It's a
black
great one for
tourmaline.
always. It's a good, power crystal, clearing, protection, um,
I like that
all
too.
of that. And then if you want to really get, Sawanee, you can go with carnelian. So that's the orange. So the black and
Oh,
orange
that would be so
would be a
pretty.
nice combo.
I'm really into carnelian. Is it carnelian? This is
I
one.
have been recently. Yes,
I'm
that's
not an
beautiful.
expert in crystals, but I do really
Kind
this
of a
is one.
sardonyx. Yeah, sardonyx carnelian mix, definitely. I use crystals with the animal healing a lot.
Do you?
Um, and I actually brought the ones that I used with tarot.
Okay.
Can't believe I'm like talking about it so easily. I'm proud of myself.
Proud of you.
This was one that I had just gotten recently, and it's very unique. I'd never heard of it before. It's right, root beer fluorite, so brown fluorite, which I didn't know existed until I saw this, with white celestite bars through it. So
What?
it's like the Earth star, right? The brown
Yeah.
connecting into the Earth star, and then the celestite is the angels connecting to the angels.
Mhm.
So I was drawn, and she was a tortoise shell. So black and gold or brown and gold. So this, because it has flashes of orange in it and gold.
Now,
So
how did you use that when you were
I
with her?
just, you know, I held it ahead of time. I kind of set the intention to be there for whatever, was needed or going to happen. And then I had it beside her, as I was holding her. And I also had this wand. It's a special one, definitely, Violet. I'm in love with it. But I had no intention, it's new, but I had no intention of using it for that purpose, but I was called to. And this is a bloodstone wand. Bloodstone is good to ease pain with the clear quartz, which amplifies, and then the Earth Star to the Soul Star chakra. So most
Mm.
people know about the 7 chakras, but well, there's many, 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 but
Mhm.
you can add in the two, one above and one below as well. So this I
That's
had
amazing.
with me.
I've got my wand here today too. I had a feeling you were going to bring out your crystals. I'm like, I better show up with something too. This has rose quartz on it, which I love. Like it's kind of to me this feels like self-love, self-worth, just like a supporting and vibrancy. I
Mhm.
had my friend here, Lori, who's a massage therapist. She was visiting from Lillooet for a weekend, and I was like, "Can you please give me a massage?" She's just like amazing. She's kind of retired, but she'll come out of retirement sometimes. And she actually used the wand too, and it felt so good. She's like, "This is an amazing wand." She was just like kind of going around. I don't know what she was doing, but doing something energetically, and I could just feel it through my whole
Mhm.
body. It felt so good.
The
Yeah.
one for pain was bloodstone. There are multiple ones for pain, but that's the least expensive one and the most readily available bloodstone. So it's green and red jasper together. It's a little hard to tell in this one, but one of the other things I do along with my oracle cards, which we'll talk about, but is I do I call them healing help kits. So do little pouches. I don't have one within arm's reach, which is odd because I have everything within arm's reach. But with different crystals based on the needs, like 4 or 5 different crystals. So there are a lot for pain. There are multiple ones. Sugilite is good for general healing. It's very expensive. Like a tiny, tiny little one will cost you, $5, $10, and I'm talking tiny.
Okay.
Um, and then Udigulite is another one that's also very expensive. Nature Light has some amazing Nature Light, but again, very expensive. So Bloodstone is kind of the easiest go-to, easiest, most readily available. If you walk into most crystal stores, they might not have, probably won't have at least a couple of
Now,
those other.
Joanne, how do you balance? I know you're behavior specialist, and that's like, is that through the government? Is that like a government
Um,
organization or health
no, I work for a nonprofit that's
nonprofit?
contracted
Okay.
through the Ministry of Children and Family Development and other agencies. So
Beautiful.
we're a nonprofit that's contracted through
How do
them.
you balance the what we could say like the woo-woo with that straight edge gig, which isn't, of course, super straight edge because you're not, but it's, it's part of an organization and all of that. Where I don't know, how do they feel? Are you out with it? Do you
I
mix
am
it in?
now.
You are?
I've
Okay.
gotten to the point where, you know what? This is who I am. And sometimes I just love the reaction, which I love that I love because that would not have been me. Thank you, Violet. I see that. I didn't used to. And at one point, actually, when I started my website, um, ironically, my clinical director is the one who's the photo I sent you of tarot. I can bring
Yeah.
it up. Assisting with the Reiki session.
Hmm.
She I say I bring it up and then it's not right there. But the person I was doing Reiki on in person
Hmm.
was my clinical director from years ago. But once I did my website, something came up in a meeting and I was told to change my terminology because I was calling myself a behavior consultant on there. And yes, thank you. So that's my clinical director.
Oh, wow. There you
Who
go.
was not, she was a fellow consultant at the time, but that's tarot.
Okay.
Now, I mean, she's the one who just passed. And again, I can't believe I'm not like sobbing over it. This is the energy's holding me together. But she's on all of my marketing material.
Oh,
She's on signs on my car. She's on my rack cards. She's everywhere. That photo, my clinical director, Kavita, her daughter, was obsessed with my cats and just taking photo after photo after photo. Again, pre cell phone, I believe, just barely. Yes.
mm.
My first cell phone 2008, and that was probably 2007. Um, but so that as soon as I saw that photo, I'm like, I have to use that. That's kind of my logo
That
for
makes
all.
sense.
And
And
when I would do remote sessions,
mhm.
I do all my work remote now. I haven't had someone in an
Okay.
ages. And I find it actually works better for the healing because
Mm.
the 3D bodies aren't getting in the way. And this, even for the communication, the remote is often stronger than the healing if, in person. I lost my train of thought. I figured that would happen earlier than it did. I'm good.
You're good. I can see why you picked that crystal because it does really look like
It
her
does.
patterns and colors. Yeah,
And actually now I keep it on my bedside table, which had not been the plan for it, and I have one for um my cat Ravenclaw who passed. This was the one I used. It's a Labradorite I had used with
ooh.
her the
Can you
night she was.
hold it up closer, Joanne? We want to see that. Everybody, what crystal do you have on your bedside table? Type it in if you have one. I know you do.
I would have a
I have
long
a
list.
big rose quartz one. That's beautiful.
So that's the Labradorite. And then for Puff. I was using a celestite, which this is the typical blue celestite that most people have seen and heard of, whereas in the one for tarot, it's white celestite.
Wow, I love
Lapidate, that's a good one. Just one, right.
that.
Exactly. Again, yeah. I mean, I'm surrounded everywhere. Literally, my computer. Would you like me to like show you the ones I have here?
Yes, of course we do.
You know, it's like ongoing. Clear quartz is one of my favorite. Lemurians are my.
What? Hold that up close, Joanne. That's so cool. What's in the middle there? A little metal.
It's a brass band with amethyst.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm looking.
okay, you're making
And
us
of course, I
jealous.
have to almost always get two of something.
Oh, why? Because you can't decide, or
Two hands.
oh, two hands, right? You told me that before, right? You have to have something in both hands, right? I'm gonna do
Well, you
that.
don't have to, but I prefer to. This is
What are you,
a energy
Joanne?
extractor, so it's a very sharp tip.
Okay.
And not as sharp as some I have, but you can use it to like release and open up.
Ooh, do you know what this is? It kind of looks rainbowy, but it has like a little
It's opalite.
opalite. Okay.
That's a man-made one, but it has opal and other minerals in it.
Okay. I just love the colors that come through. I keep it on
Should
my.
bring up the chat that I can see it permanently because I'm losing track of some of them.
Hmm.
Someone said hell light on the bedside table. That's a good one for sleeping.
Okay. Nice. This is
Yeah,
fun.
you'd be best not to have quartz on your bedside table or in your bedroom because that amplifies, so it can amplify like energy.
Mm.
Although that being said, I have a Lemurian angel on my bedside table, carved
Mm.
from Lemurian quartz. I actually have. Okay, I'm going to admit this. I've got no filter today. I have 7 Lemurian angels
Oh.
because I am obsessed with anything Lemurian. I have trays and trays of Lemurians. Lemurians are supposedly from ancient Lemuria,
Okay.
okay, which predated Atlantis. And the thought is that they seeded the earth with these crystals, and you can tell they're a Lemurian by, can you see the striations?
Oh yeah, through the
Like a
center.
ladder that you can feel,
Mm.
right? Like if you ran your thumb up, your nail, you can hear it up and down. Um,
Wow.
Yet, Violet, we can hook you up. One of my crystal
Come on.
dealers in many uses of that word is actually having a live sale tomorrow night on Instagram. And most of my Lemurians are from her because I totally trust her.
Okay.
Because especially if it's a carving, you don't have the lines often, right? They carved
Mm.
it out of a larger piece.
Oh,
So you have to trust who
okay.
get it. So I had seen these angels by someone else who was going to the Tucson Gem Show, which is the biggest.
Okay. I've been there. I love it. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna go this year if anyone wants to come.
Oh, that's my dream. Um, but I heard they were there through another vendor, someone from the UK on, oh, you're in Arizona. Okay.
Ooh, Violet, we're coming for a visit.
So I heard they were there, so I sent her on a mission. I messaged her and said, Christine, please come. Oh, Lori, I just got a brief glimpse of whatever you held up there.
Oh, Lori, I'm pulling you in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Lori's a crystal expert too.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
that back up. Okay. Lori, okay, now hold on, Lori. I'm
Got
gonna,
a Miriam? Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to unmute? Lori, I gave you permission. This is fun now. We're in the crystal zone.
Yeah, I have a few Lemurians, but this is my biggest one that I've got. I quite enjoy.
Mhm. Just looking down and reaching down, I had my largest one, which Christine got from me at Tucson or Denver last year, and it's like about 10, 11 inches. Not a clean tip because that would have been way beyond my price range, but not a chip tip, but a flat one across the top. So gorgeous. Yeah. So, anyways, when I sent Christine on the hunt for these angels, at the time I had 6 cats, and Puff was one. No, I had 5. One had passed. Ravenclaw had passed, and Puff was on the verge of passing. She lived well beyond what the vet could even believe that she did. Her numbers were numbers he'd never seen in terms of toxicity and all the rest. And she basically lived 10 months past a terminal diagnosis of like not long. Um, but I sent Christine looking for them, and I didn't get them in time, but I used the energy of the angel from the photo to help with Puff as well. So I had one for each of the cats and one for myself as well. So now as I have my shelf in my library of, the urns and the rest, and the paw prints, I have an angel for each one of them up there.
Oh, that's so special. I love that. Beautiful.
And actually, last night I have not tried to check in with tarot. It's still too raw. I do a quick little and then I back off because I'm just, like I said, can't believe I'm like talking about so rationally because yeah, last night was a really tough night for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so I had gone to bed. I didn't sleep, but I got up to go downstairs at one point and didn't have the light on in the stairwell. Something's on the carpet. I step over it. As I'm coming back up, because I have cats, I thought I better not just step over that. I better see what that was. So I turned on the light and hopefully you can see it.
A feather. Oh, look, is it fur?
Yes, it is. It's her fur. And at first I thought it was a butterfly. The way it was spread out.
Oh my gosh, goosebumps.
So that's the first message to me on
Wow.
this. She was here because that was not there earlier. She had lost some hair when she was so ill. She was like, she had cancer in her jaw that just came up like within a month. I took her to the vet one Saturday, and 2 weeks later is when I went back this past week. It all came up very, very fast. And in the last few days, she was drooling a lot and her front was always wet. So she was like losing fur and that. So, but that was a gift last night. Very clearly hers.
Especially when you're having such a hard night, right? To feel like
Really tough.
Still,
well, today's only like day 4. So
yeah, exactly. It's still, thanks for coming in today because I know that it takes so much courage, right? To be so tender and to still come in.
I expected tears. So I'm doing well that I'm not because
I feel like it's like a celebration too, right? Of everything that your cats bring to you presently and also beyond the veil too. And I know you create cards to kind of commemorate them, but also just to support in the healing process for others too. Would you share about your cards?
Before I do that, just wanted to mention crystals. This might be why I'm managing right now is I have a new ring. I'm crazy. I'm obsessed with crystals and all things jewelry, crystals and all the rest. So I just got this ring a few weeks ago, but the bottom stone is smoky quartz, which is, clears and pulls toxins out. And then it's bronzite, which is for grief and helps release that. The middle stone is Libyan desert glass, which is a tektite. It was in King Tut's breastplate, which I'm obsessed with, the Libyan desert glass. And then it's black tourmaline. And then the top one is Tibetan quartz, which this one you cannot see carbon in it, but it has some carbon in it. So it's like very strongly healing and connected to the human body because we're carbon based. So this might be what's helping in the moment, kind of. I put it on in the direction of clearing up and around and through right before I started. So yes. So when I got my last 2 kittens, Ren and Maggie, and they have their own Facebook page, by the way.
Oh, do they? So we can follow them? Okay.
Ren and Maggie and their new nest. They were born in rescue in Langley, BC, called Tiny Kittens. If you're a cat lover, do not hate me for teaching you about tiny kittens because you can watch for hours. They live stream 24/7, and they brought their Violet's expression there.
We're all addicted now. Thanks a lot, Joanne.
I had a group home staff that I'd been in before I went on vacation one year who I was not making a connection with. She was very resistant, the whole thing. When I came back after vacation, she met me outside with her finger in my face and go, I have a bone to pick with you. And I thought, oh, here we go, and I'm like, so what's up? I told her about tiny kittens and she was spending so much time on it. She was so they're an amazing rescue that deal mostly with feral cats and colonies, right? They do the TNR or the and they take them back if they can't socialize them, but they socialize a bunch of them when they can. So they brought in Ren and Maggie's mama, not knowing that she was pregnant, but she had an injured paw. And they found out they do ultrasounds, non-sedated ultrasounds on feral cats. Like they're absolutely amazing. Found out she was pregnant, kept her in. And then I actually watched them being born, not knowing they were going to be mine. Right. So then I put in an application for the two of them. They came home. And shortly after, like they were in their safe room downstairs with me, and I was, hanging out with them. And I just heard the message again, Claire, audiently, you're going to make oracle cards because I'm also obsessed with tarot and oracle cards. And I'm like, I literally, like, I remember sitting there, I was sitting with my feet up on the couch. I'm like, what? How? Like, I had no idea how to actually make cards of any sort. So from my muggle job, I had 2 or 3 weeks off over spring break, and I started working on them. And I channeled a deck of 45 oracle 45 messages called Messages from Friends of Ren and Magpie. Oracle cards. That's Ren and Maggie. I wasn't very good with, and I'm still not very good with photos, so that's kind of the best one I could get. Of like Maggie and then Ren. It's a little hard to see of the two of them together that I could fit in the anyways, because I did them myself on a website from the UK. And then there's a how to use the cards, how to use oracle cards. So that's another one of their photos when they were babies. And then did like a about the photos that they may not be perfect, but they're real. One of the photos was taken just like hours before the cat passed by the mama. So, real photos. And I did not filter the messages at all. I just sat at my computer, used whatever oils, whatever, and over a space of 2 weeks, channeled the 45 messages to do them. So yeah, it was, and I have a little bio, which I'm really proud of. I'm so pleased that I thought of this. I have a little bio at the bottom of each card with like who, where they're from and how old they were and that sort of thing. So just a little bit of information about the cat. So the cat's on the front. Whoops, switched hands and I'm going backwards now. So I actually picked a card before I started here, and I was wondering if Tara was going to show up. But her sister Lily, who's one of my cats, showed up. So this is Lily, and her message is it's all about love. And on the back, so it's all about love. Give love unconditionally. Be yourself without any ulterior motives or agendas. Relax until you need to run wild. Look into others' eyes with pure love. Have fun and be a wackadoodle when the feeling strikes. That's one of her things. She would just like all of a sudden and go, and it'd be like, everybody get out of the way because she's out of control. That's one of her nicknames is wackadoodle as she goes flying. And even at 16, she still kind of does the same version. So that's her card. So Desiree, would you like a card?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm just going to shuffle with you in mind, and we'll see. So the way I got the cats, these are not all my cats. Everyone asks, are those all your cats? They're not all my cats. Every cat I've ever had is in the deck, but I put out a call on my Facebook cat groups and asked for volunteers and was overwhelmed with volunteers. So, well, I think we started with this topic. So this is Maya, and at the time I did them, which was a few years ago, she lived with her person Laura in Surrey, BC. And she was born October 23rd, 2012. So this is Maya, and her message
is October 23rd. Oh my God. And it's Scorpio season, and I'm a Scorpio.
It's October 23rd.
Isn't that crazy, you guys?
That is crazy.
I'm getting goosebumps. Okay, I love this. Maya.
And I don't pick this one very often. Okay. It's don't hide.
Oh.
So the message is don't hide who you are at your essence. Trust others to see who you are when you come out of hiding and open up. Let the sun shine on you, and that light will spread to those around you.
Oh, that's like my whole opus, like my mission in life.
And it's how we started the conversation, right? About the introverts and letting, opening up. So,
and that's why I invited you in, Joanne, because you don't get to hide either. Because isn't this fun, everybody? Just to kind of be with someone like-minded who also is bridging that gap between Muggle world, right?
I'm not good at reading messages fast. Was it Violet who had the dog Maya? I didn't see who had typed that. Yes, it was. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyone else like a card? Is that all right with you, Desiree, if we do some quick?
Yes, please.
Okay. You'll have to stop me. Like I said, I'm this was any other topic, I'd be a nervous wreck and looking at the time to end. Now I'm like, oh no, we're almost out of time.
Too fun, right? Yeah, no, we can stay a little extra. Anyone, if you do need to run out, it's totally fine. Just stay as long as it serves you. But I think this is so fun today. So will you do a card for somebody here?
Yes, I just saw Esmeralda pop up. I love your name.
I know, right?
Can't
Esmeralda.
see everyone. I don't think I can see everyone. I just got a line in front of me.
Okay. Let's okay. How should we do this? I think I saw Violet put up her hand really quick.
The gallery view or something? Could we? Let me see if I can find Esmeralda.
Oh yeah, it was Esme's birthday yesterday. Woo. Esmeralda, celebrating you. Another journey around the sun. She's in the dark. She's in Brussels, so.
Oh wow.
Okay, Joanne, you decide how you're going to do this, and I'm going to.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll do what I did with you. I'll read the little bio about the cat, and then I'll hold up the picture. So this cat is Yoda, and Yoda
lives
for
Joanne. Is this for everybody or just checking?
For Esmeralda.
Okay, for
I had seen her. Yoda lives with her person Estella in France. So
close by.
Are you kidding me? I love these cards so much. You would not believe how many times this sort of thing happens. Okay. Although I have a really funny story that I have to tell you about one. Don't let me forget it because it's really funny. I need new glasses. Ville de Marne, France. She was born April 10th, 2013. So this is Yoda, and her message is rest. Do that better so that I can read. Remember to rest, whether you think you need it or not, especially when you don't think you could take the time. Rest is necessary and the best medicine. Love yourself enough to give the gift of rest and healing. Others love you and want you to rest and heal. Esmeralda, that's for you.
Oh, I love that. Esme, does that, I'm going to let you unmute. Does that resonate? I know it's getting late for you too. So resting is good.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to unmute earlier, but I couldn't. Yeah, it's totally in there. As you know, I still have this tracheitis. And today I had asked my mom to come yesterday and today to support with the excuse of my birthday so I could rest. But as you know, I ended up going to the ER with my husband yesterday and today for another intervention. So there was no staying in bed all day as I intended out of my Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can hear I'm still not recovered. So,
bonne tête, mais pas complètement.
Non, pas complètement, non. And I have my big party on Saturday, so I hope to be recovered. So, demain et vendredi, pour me reposer. So that you Merci, Joanna. And Yoda, it's so funny. That's very Star Wars, right?
Yeah. So cool.
Spiritual leader.
Yeah, Yoda, spiritual leader. I have a magnet on my fridge that has Yoda and it says there is no try. There is no try. Because you know when we say like, oh, I'm going to try to do this.
I do use that excuse very often, yeah. So I don't have to fully commit, yeah. Okay, I hear you. Although to be honest, my husband was really sweet because he's offering to go and buy me snacks and drinks for the party and asking me if I can already bring it to the location in Brussels so I don't have to carry it all in public transport on Saturday. So I may do a little bit of getting out of the house, but it's all for a good cause, if you would.
Yeah, awesome. Have so much fun at your party.
But sure I will rest. Thank you, Joanna, for the reminder. I will rest too. Not just plan and organize.
You just brought up the chat and I see that Red has a black tourmaline shaped as Bastet. Ooh.
What?
I have a Bastet on my, I call it my altar, but it's my coffee table downstairs. It's huge and it's just covered.
No room for coffee on there.
Angel light, definitely. I never know which way the track goes here. Let me see, but I think this one goes up. Yes, okay. Would anyone else like a card? Just a hand up or a thing? Okay, so Carrie, I see Carrie's hand up. you might see better than me, Desiree. I don't know if you have a different view, but
Yeah,
I carry. So we'll
okay,
just
sure.
shuffle.
Yeah, you're in charge.
Sorry, I laugh at all of them. I can't help myself. So this is Henry. Henry was my mom's cat when I was little. So he lived with this person, Todd, my mom and family in Pointe Claire, Quebec, and he passed in 1969. So this is a baby picture of me. Hang on, sorry. I switched hands and now I'm having trouble orienting again because doing it with my other hand. But so that's Henry and me on the car, and his message is be charming.
Oh, charming.
Charm others by being a strong, solid, gentle presence for them to develop in your energy. Allow and encourage others to learn from your soul's quiet power and energy. Hold the space for their growth. So that says, is that a tabby you have with you? Oh, okay. Oh, a calico. Okay.
No, she's part Siamese.
Okay.
Jazzy. This is my Jazzy, and she was just hollering at me with her little stuffy. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's deaf now, but her sister is sleeping under the rocking chair, Chloe. So, yeah, they're 15. My dog Buddy, he was 15 as well. And he passed in May, and I miss him like crazy.
Beautiful.
He saved my life a few times as well. And
I believe it. Yeah.
yeah, my baby boy. He was my support animal. I took him in the stroller. I have a blue stroller. I took him to work and everywhere with me, and all of a sudden I didn't have him, and I felt so lost and empty. I want another one, but there is so many scams out there, so I don't know how to get another Maltese poodle. And I am in Langley too. You've mentioned Langley, and I also have done Reiki with Lisa. So out of Phoenix Rising on the one way, and
oh right, yes.
Yes,
right.
yes.
Rising, yeah.
Yeah.
Goldie.
Yeah.
Right there, yeah.
Goldie, yeah. And Jans, and yes. Yeah.
I know them well, but I've been in there and I know they're very friendly with my stone crystal dealer, who's Stonehaven. So they're very friendly with her. So I kind of know of. Yeah.
It's kind of neat that I'm meeting somebody who knows my area, who's local, and not elsewhere in the country. It's like, wow, it's so close. It feels like home.
Sometime. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's your message for today from the cats. There's one surprise guest, special guest in the deck. I said there's 45 cards, there's 44 cats, and there's one dog.
Oh.
Who crossed over years ago. But he has a connection with one of my cats. They are kind of they're BFFs. Ranu lives in my basement because she likes to have her own space. They go on journeys together, and it's funny when Zeus's person Bonnie flies. She flies like within Canada quite a bit for family and the rest, and they'll go with her. I mean, people might think I'm crazy, but I think we're all, at least I'm only mildly crazy in this group.
Hardly.
Exactly. Ren, I see Ren out on the wing and she's like, wing. And she's flying and she's been up in the cockpit, and Ren is another very strong personality, Calico. That's why she lives on her own, is she's likes her space and not to be pestered by others. But yes, so and she's one of the ones the deck was created in honor of, or however you want to put it. But yes, so Zeus has his own in here as well.
Thanks, Carrie.
I mean, I can go on reading. I'm just conscious of time. If anyone else wants reading, I'm happy to do it.
That's awesome. And everyone, you can always connect with Joanne outside class too. I'll pop her website back in. But let's do one more. Do you want to pick someone else?
Okay, well, it was Lori that I had mentioned. I see Red's hand up too, but and I know I don't see everybody. I'm only seeing like part of whoever's
Okay, which Lori?
Johnson.
Lori Johnson, Goddess Lori. Okay, let's do it. And I'll give you permission to unmute.
Fall out? No, but it's sticking out at the back here. So let's go. Well, the one we began the class on is the one we're ending the class on. That's my Lily Bug. It's all about love. So she's Tarot's sister, litter mate. So she's 16 and a half. Her name's Tiger Lily, Lily, Willie, Silly Willie, Wackadoodle, whatever you want to try. So it's all about love. So again, give love unconditionally. Be yourself without any ulterior motives or agendas. Relax until you need to run wild. Look into others' eyes with pure love. Have fun and be a wackadoodle when the feeling strikes.
She's back with the wackadoodle.
She hasn't done it in a couple of months, but I have boxes throughout my house. A psychic once told me I was moving, and I'm like, I'm never moving. And she goes, why do I see boxes everywhere? And I burst out laughing. I'm like, I have cats and I cater to my cats. And they all have their own boxes everywhere. And she has a throne with like a double box. And she used to do like flying around. I have a 3-story townhouse, and she'd do like flying around the stairs and do a flying landing onto the boxes. And she didn't always stick the landing. So we had like, and most of the boxes are like just stuffed with paper and things, right, to keep them nutty. So there'd be like explosions of paper everywhere. But yes.
Does that resonate
with you, Lori?
Yeah, thank you. It's very me. Some of the work I'm doing right now, I just found out like my energy center is love, divine love. So when that came out, it really resonated with me that it's just something I'm working really hard on right now. I don't want to say really hard, but I'm working on right now is really, I don't judge, and I try to be, the unconditional love, but just constantly staying in that state. So it was a beautiful card. Thank you.
Well, Lily can be the perfect reminder of that for you, because this is a cat who can even purr in her sleep. She purrs very loudly, constantly. She wakes up purring. All you have to do is like tap her or call her, and she starts purring. She is just all about love.
Definitely. That's cool. I'm actually animal sitting, so I have a cat and a dog that I'm house sitting for right now. So I have Ellie, who's my little Egyptian cat. She's constantly like all over me. So the cat thing just, really resonates right now.
And the cat purr, speaking of resonates, is a frequency on the scale of consciousness of 500, which is really high. Like Jesus and Mother Teresa's up there too. Other kind of saint energies are 1,000. 0 is apathy, depression, just barely any energy. But a cat's purr is 500, or a dog's tail wagging. And so, it just brings that unconditional love into our space and into our hearts too.
As I lay down in bed last night, and as I said, it was a difficult night for me. Maggie, who's my Velcro cat anyways, but she was on my chest. She just lay on my chest for, the first little while with like, her face like right in my face. It could have been a little distance, might have been helpful, but she was doing this quiet. She's always somewhere in here. She was just trying to climb me again, and now she's gone off. But
awesome.
Well, I wanted to tell a quick funny story to end it off. Okay. So with the cards, I used to set up at the local farmers market with my crystals and my cards and the rest. And I would, just for fun, usually, like, this is what I mean, I've decided to have fun with this. I would like call in someone walked by, right, and gave me a look and looked away. I'd call, hey, do you want a message from the cats, right? Just for see what the reaction was. Like big, strong men and the rest. Well, there was a group of young men, late teens, early 20s, probably, I think about 5 of them, 5 or 6, like laughing and just being, them bouncing past. And so I called out, hey, would you like a message from the cats? And they walked up to me laughing, and they're like, yeah, whatever. So I shuffled the deck and I pulled out this one. whoops, and it's be intoxicated. Well, of course, you get the and the guy who'd said yes, his friends are shoving him around and the whole bit. So I said, hang on, hang on, hang on. Let me read the card. And it's be intoxicated by life. Relax in your favorite spot, breathe deeply and slowly, meditate on what you enjoy about your life. Soak in that feeling. Remember to go back to that feeling during times of challenge or stress. It will always be there for you. It's your natural state of being. And I'll never forget the look on his face as it changed from, the goofing around friends to like, wow, yeah. So, and most of the cats seem to be female, but this is actually a male cat. There's Simon. But so that was a moment I won't forget because the reaction when I pulled, and again, that's not one that comes up often, but they just like burst out laughter, all of them, like, and start shoving him around. It was a little more profound than what they were initially thinking.
Yeah, the meaning kind of really struck home, hey?
Mm-hmm.
I love that you just pulled out your cards too, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna pull a card for you.
It's just fun. You get the men going by who are there, like just, to carry the vegetables type thing with their wives as they're, walking past. And most of them said no, but it was fun. But I had some really interesting moments in the market with just random people with these cards. So
it's great. So you're really out there with who you really are.
Most of the time. I mean, with work again, I have to, but I did find, just to go back to that quickly, I realized I do very much use my intuition with work. I didn't realize for a long time what I was doing because I stare at my wall when I'm working. And I realized like I'd feel like I would literally, and it's muscle testing, but I was not realizing that, feel into when I'm writing a behavior plan, right? Will that work? Will this work? Will that work? Will this work? Because I go through scenarios. And again, with most families, more now, but again, I've been doing the job for like 24 years. Used to not meet a lot of dads, but I'd have like the wife said to me, wow, you're really like, I'm almost partially marital counselor too for some families. And I'd hear like, wow, you really know my husband. And the kids too. Now I've had like teenagers, high functioning, very bright with a lot of challenges say to me like, wow, you really get me. Which is so cool when that happens, because then I can get some buy-in from them, right, to work with me.
You're a husband communicator too. You've been holding it back on us.
I had a moment, actually, like I said, I can go forever, but I had a moment where I've been focusing all on the animal communication, and I'll never forget, I was in the kitchen one day, I was doing something. I had just had a message from a special needs adult who I'd worked with as a child that I'm connected with his mom on Facebook now. She's well into her 80s. Wow. And we'd been talking about him over Facebook, or she'd been out here visiting, and I took photo albums from the school I worked in and all the rest. And anyway, so I'm standing at the counter and I suddenly realized, well, I was talking to Chris. Like, if I can talk to animals, I can talk to people too. Like, it was a duh moment. And my mother just whoop, right in behind me and went, I've been waiting for you to figure that out. In her like sarcastic tone. Again, it was like, okay, I got it. I can, talk to people too if I can talk to animals. But I was
being an introvert, you probably prefer to connect to the animals, which is why you gravitated to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. But yeah, to have both is so cool. That's so awesome. I love this, Joanne, because it's an example for everybody here. When you come out of the broom closet, as we like to say around here, it doesn't have to be you're going to set up shop as a psychic or a healer or whatever the modality is. It could be, which I think is amazing. But it can also be that you're just weaving your magical abilities into your vocation that you already have, and you're expanding it, you're taking it deeper, higher, wider, and you're actually evolving that vocation and that position and what you can do for the people that you're serving. And that is just so admirable. I just love that so much because I'm just
have to be careful because our profession is now board certified.
And how do you do that then? This is a good.
So I have to be very careful about, what I say and to who, but those families who are open to it do know what I do and know that that's part of what they're receiving from me. And those who aren't, well, they're still receiving it. They just don't know it.
Yeah. And it's totally possible, like you're saying, like through the process, you're staring at the wall, you're muscle testing. It's not always super overt, right? You're not announcing to
Yeah.
the family, and by the way, I'm a husband and animal communicator, and I am here to support you today.
But I've got the cat who never comes to anybody sitting on my lap during the meetings and, all
Yeah.
of that. So
Yeah, it's really special. Yeah. So, the wise women of the world
that's
I
how I was
think
going to go to bed. Good night. Sorry.
yeah, Esme, good night. It's getting late there for her. But yeah, it's just so important, I think, to like acknowledge our gifts and abilities. It doesn't have to be recreational in a pastime. It's like actually something that's really important. And so trusting our intuition and keep searching and seeking for your magical abilities. Joanne, do you think everybody has abilities? Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. You have to be open to it. And the number one thing with animal communication is you have to respect the animals, right? Like Puff was the first one that I really, really looked at like an equal, if not a higher being by far. Right. And then I since realized I kind of felt that, but hadn't really, recognized it before that, that's how important I feel they are. So that's kind of the first step is just respecting them and then just being open, and practicing cultivating it and believing. I've learned to just believe what I get.
Yeah.
I just type when I do a session,
Mhm.
right? And when I did these cards, I just typed. I did not edit, did not change anything. So it's not my wording, it's the wording that I got.
So you're getting the message from the animal or spirit, and then you're just sharing with your client through a written typed message.
I've done it live as well.
Okay.
I just find usually I do it written and then provide because then I, pull in whatever I need during the session or go get or whatever. But the live ones have been very fun too. So.
One of my best friends, Wendy, I'll just share one quick story. She is this very magical Chinese woman, comes to my seniors dance classes at Trout Lake Community Center. And when I first met her 8 years ago, she came to my class for the first time. And she's very witchy. She's this beautiful, she's a goddess, long dark hair. She looks like $1,000,000. You would never know she is in her 60s. She looks like she's 40. And she's dancing around. She's got these long nails and elegant hands. But we were doing a process and she started crying and she's like, my cat is lost right now. I can't find my cat. My husband and I have been looking and looking around the neighborhood, and they don't have kids. And this was like their child. So his name is Spooky. And then, so they were looking for multiple days, but we did do a healing that day that kind of helped her just get her energy back up. And the cat was never found. It was so sad. But our other friend who's a psychic medium, her name's Helen, did a reading for her and did just what you were saying. She wrote it out, and it was like a letter from Spooky to his mom. And he's like, Mom, it's okay. This was my time to go. I'm fine where I am. And just all these things Spooky wanted Wendy to know. And she read me the letter. I'll never forget, because we were standing outside after dance class and she's like, Can I please read this to you? And we were both like bawling our eyes out. We're like, oh, Spooky. But it gave her so much closure to have that communication come through and just to know that she didn't fail him in those last few days. Yeah.
That's such a tough one. I've worked with several lost pets.
Okay.
My teacher actually won't anymore because she said it's too hard. And for some, I've actually gotten one. I got like what the house looked like the area he was around. I got an address. We Googled it, found it out in Maple Ridge. The woman went like it was exactly like I had said, and people had seen the cat. But I tried very, very gently to tell her that he didn't want to come home. And she just wasn't able to hear it.
Yeah.
So.
I think sometimes cats especially will leave when they're about to depart because they don't necessarily want you to be there, for you to have to experience that with them. That's my personal experience. And so we can, respect that too. That's kind of their way of doing it, but it makes it hard.
It does. If
Right.
there's closure, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hold up the book one more time, Joanne? I know you're going to have your own book in course one day and we're going to come, but for now,
I don't know. Animal
animal talk. And what does it say below?
interspecies telepathic communication.
That is so cool.
So there's now a new updated version. This is the original, and I do have the newer covers. They're right behind me. Look like that.
Thanks, Sarah.
So this
Sarah
is one of the Animals in Spirit, but they all look like this now.
Okay, that's Penelope as well.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. I'm going to see if she'll come on my summit. I want to talk to this lady. That's awesome.
All right, good luck with that. She's
Never know.
Never know. Absolutely.
Never know until you ask.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Joanne, for coming in and in this time when you're grieving too. I just appreciate you so much. And I hope this was uplifting and healing for you today too.
I've been looking forward to this so much that I did not want to cancel and change, and I do definitely feel better. Thank you. So
yeah, I hope you'll come back again. It's been really fun.
Lots of fun. Like I said, I can talk all day about cats and cards and crystals and
crystals. Oh my gosh.
Like I love dogs too. I've just somehow my life has been about cats. Yeah. With Puff, I didn't dare have any dogs around, and there was no way she would have tolerated that. So
yeah, exactly. And yeah, it'd be great to have you come back and share a little bit about your path of like revealing your magic too. I know you've been to Egypt and have had, yeah, we could talk about that too, but we don't have time right now, but we'll bring you back.
Incorporates cats and crystals and all of it before I even, absolutely.
Links it all together. And everybody, next week, we're having our Samhain event, starts October 28th. It's free to join. So please tell your friends, tell any women who are, you know, on a path of self-love and empowerment to come in. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do playful rituals. We're going to do a crystal grid on the first day. So start to think about what kind of crystals you would like to have in your grid. And then we'll charge an intention to kick it off. And we're going to do some other pentagram and jack-o'-lantern / cauldron letting go rituals along the way, and some powerful processes around ancestors. Joanne, I love that you mentioned this awareness that at some point in time we were actually in our grandmother's womb, right? If we think grandmother and she has her ovaries and uterus, and then she's pregnant with mom, and as mom is growing in utero, so are her ovaries and uterus and womb space. And there is a glimmer of you inside mom as she is growing inside grandma. And there's a deep bond that happens there, whether you knew your biological mom and grandma or not, whether you like your mother and grandmother or not, there is a deep connection there. And this is I love that you mentioned that, because that's actually one of my meditations that I have planned next week, and we'll go into a remembrance of that and do a healing for that. So there's an emphasis on healing and lineage, honoring the ancestors. We'll also create an ancestral altar too. So like Joanne has her images of ancestors, start to collect those. You probably already have some around the house, but if you want to print out some new ones, I'm going to do that myself, actually print out some new ones. Oh, perfect example.
Fine with like, again, all the different generations back. And then of course some crystals that I put on.
Always the crystals. How did you make that? Is that on a canvas?
Yes, I just sent it to a shop, right? Just sent the photo. And they had some of it went around the sides a tiny bit, but yeah.
That is so cool. So okay, so tell me, you put the photos out like on a table and took a picture.
Yes.
And then you sent that to the shop.
Yes. Like online.
Joanne, I love that you're making this so easy for us with the cards. Because part of my mind, because I'm a visual artist too, I have a degree in visual arts. I did not know that, but I get perfectionism around this. I'm like, it has, like, my studio has to be set up. I've got to have the right brushes all cleaned. Like, all the things have to happen before I'll start, which is really kind of
have been that, but I had to let this go because they're overlapping, right? And I wanted to try to get everybody in at the right age and that. May I also give a plug to my crystal dealer who's having an online Instagram sale or Instagram crystal sale?
Yeah, I already put the link in there, but tell us again.
So
because I love them now too.
It's Stonehaven Gems. So that's what her page looks like. And it's a one-woman show with some help on occasion. But one of her helpers is a witch, who comes and does like, the admin part during. So that's what her IG page looks like. And she's local. She's in Victoria. Yeah, one woman show. And I've been buying from her for over 15 years. Totally authentic, all about, fair trade, fair practices, absolutely everything. So she's amazing.
Isn't it amazing, everyone, to have recommendations too? That's what I love about our community is it's sharing resources too, right? Because there's so many out there. How do you even, and you might have your own already, but I think here we get to share these kinds of resources, like ethical companies that are doing really good work in the world, and witches who really are out of hiding, and they're like, come on over here, and they consecrate their tools, right? Like the woman I bought this from, I bought this in Whistler, but she lives in Edmonton and she makes them herself. And that when she's making this, she's consecrating it, she's pulling in energies, and you can feel it when you hold it. It's just unbelievable. So sharing these kinds of powerful resources, I think, is part of our community here in Charmed as well. And if you're new, is there anyone here who's never been to a Charmed session before today? Because I gifted it to some people. Yeah, Carrie, that just worked out so perfect today. And for Carrie and others who might be new here, we meet on the new moon and the full moon, and we do a practice. We do a ceremony or ritual. And then often I will have special guests coming in like Joanne to share their magic and to be this beautiful model of what it means to be a sacred feminine leader, a witch, a light worker in the world, and all the different expressions of coming out of hiding. I love that I got that card today, just coming out of hiding, because that's kind of what I feel like I do all day long. It's like hand out permission slips. Like, yes, you get to come out of hiding. You get to come out of hiding, and let's go, people, because the world needs all of us. It's not just me. It's not just Joanne. It's like, come on, let's go. What are we waiting
Women
for?
entrepreneurs, like again, I see Marissa saying she lives in Victoria. Christine from Stonehaven Gems did an in-person. She's not doing a lot of in-person anymore, but she did one last weekend. She's got one coming up in a couple weeks, I think. So if you check her out on Instagram, it might be something local to you that you can go and see her stuff and all of that as well.
Freaking good. Marissa, do you want to share a little bit of your story at all? Marissa just had an amazing cat store experience over multiple months, and I think Joanne would find it if you're comfortable.
Leanne, I see you say Australia. If you do like the crystals she ships, my Oracle cards, if I can put a plug in, I do have them for sale if anyone is interested. And feel free to
on your website,
Facebook or Instagram. I'm under Healing Pause. Like, but on Facebook it's just my name. So
I didn't know they were for sale, Joanne. I would have told you a long time ago. Okay, I'm putting your website down. Okay.
Yeah, quite a few of them.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Marissa, what do you want to share about your story?
I don't know how much I want to share about the story right now. I'm kind of at the tail end of the time that I can a lot to spend on with you today. I've so appreciated hearing everything from you, Joanne.
Thank you.
Yeah, like really, really resonates with me so much what you say. Appreciate this so much.
Marissa, I know you. Can you just share a little bit about like Princess Peach was your teacher? What did you learn from her?
I learned courage from her. She was definitely fearless. She was a Manx, an orange and white, with a huge personality. She used her voice loud and clear, and she was attacked by a big dog and went through a big surgery and didn't make it. That was back in March. So, but 7 months to the day, pretty much here, actually, I've received a settlement offer to cover the vet bills, the 12,000 I spent on trying to save her.
I can't even imagine.
So, and I have a crystal that I picked up too that very much represents her. That's what Carly had said, like, oh, it looks just like Peach. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize it at the time, but yeah, the sardonyx.
And I'm so proud of you, Marissa, because part of why I wanted to pull you in here is because Marissa actually had legislation changed because the park didn't have any rules around this, and Marissa had that actually changed, and now it's implemented.
That's not 100% accurate, actually. There hasn't been a change in the legislation. I did manage to get the dog designated as dangerous. I haven't.
The one dog, okay.
The dog that attacked, yes, that dog has a dangerous designation now, which means it can't go out in public without a leash and a muzzle.
Wow.
But the rules with the parks, that's not something I've taken on yet. That's a completely separate department from what I had been dealing with.
Yeah, that's a big
with
one.
The CRD bylaw. Yeah, it's the parks department to actually get rules changed. That is something that still is on my mind and heart. And but yeah, that dog's off leash area be separate.
But what's important here is that I think Princess Peach, who had this loud voice, really has been teaching you all through the process to use your voice because you negotiated for a settlement when this woman was not going to give you anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She hired an expensive, fancy lawyer from Vancouver, actually, and was telling me she couldn't give me the $13,000, but she could afford to hire the lawyer. So I did get a $12,000 settlement in the end. Yeah.
So I'm proud of you for using your voice and through a challenging time, especially because it's so sad for you and your family to lose Princess Peach.
Yeah, but the support of you and all of the ladies in Circle was invaluable to me throughout this time. Like, I really appreciate it. It's made a difficult time and process a lot easier and really felt held along the way. So I thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. And Marissa and I actually did muscle testing right after Princess Peach was going into the vet too, and Joanne mentioned muscle testing earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we jumped on a call and just did some quick muscle testing, which was for Princess Peach to go ahead with the operation because we were like, oh, I don't know, because she could die in the operating table. Like, are we going is she going to spend the money for the vet to do it? But we just kept of course, Marissa has to do this. It was a very strong yes with the pendulum. This is the pendulum I use. And part of me was like, I shouldn't be giving advice on this for Marissa to spend like $12,000. But it wasn't me, right? It's just, this is what the spirit is saying. And so it's really come full circle. And Marissa has some new kitties in the house now. Ew.
Oh yeah. We have 2 kittens now.
Oh.
We have Mr. Mischief Star Shadow and his sweet sister, his Moon.
Oh, she's
such a sweetie. She just gives kisses and all the love.
They're so much fun in pairs. They're actually more fun than 2 together, right? Pair of kittens.
I've never had a pair before, so this is
it's better for them.
It is,
depending on circumstances, obviously.
Yes. Well, I also had cats who would not, like Princess Peach hated other cats. She should have actually been queen. She came with the name Princess Peach.
My hermaphrodite, her nickname was the Queen.
And I had another queen figure them out prior to that too. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing a little, Marissa. I know you have to go,
okay.
so thank you.
Okay.
Feel free to share my email as well if anyone just wants to connect. It's just Joanne at Healing Pause. So the first pause is like humans taking a pause, a break, and the second one is like cat pause. So healingpause.com.
And find Joanne on Instagram too. Maybe Sarah, could you do me a favor and just look up Joanne's Instagram and pop it into the chat? Joanne, is it you said it was the name Healing Pause?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Instagram.
And then Facebook. I'm on both, but I post a lot more on Facebook because I have to keep posting on Ren Maggie's page because that was part of the contract. That's my excuse, anyways. It was part of the adoption contract. 8 years later, I'm still posting daily.
And when I asked you for a photo for a graphic, you sent me a picture of your cat, which I love. I'm like, was thinking of a picture of you, Joanne. You're like, nope, we want the cat. I'm like, okay.
Even on my work photo, it's a cat. Not me.
You're hilarious. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for coming in today. That was really fun, and we'll definitely have you back another time. And it was just so nice to catch up with you too. I haven't seen
I
you.
do feel so much better too. So this is therapeutic for me. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
My turtle bug thanks you. That was Taro's nickname, one of them. Turtle bug.
Oh, what a sweetie. And yeah, this is a powerful group of light workers here. And I know everyone's holding space for you as you flow through these, the waves of grief that come, just holding that vision of you to
I'll be back for sure.
Yeah,
if you check out my Facebook page, I did an homage to her with beautiful photos last night. And tonight's are going to be the ones, one of her names was Buggy Boo because she was just so cute. And then there's a little Buggy Boo face. So tonight's theme is going to be the Buggy Boo pictures. Where she's looking really like cutesy instead of just, really dramatic photos. So very photogenic.
Okay, I'll be watching. I saw your one last night too. I loved it. It was awesome. Yeah. Okay, everybody, have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll see you in a session soon.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thanks,
Joanne, lots of love.
Wonderful.
Okay, bye, everybody. See you soon.